I've been asked this question probably about 100 times since yesterday, so I'm going to pose it to you. Should the San Francisco 49ers go out and sign recently released Shaq Leonard? Obviously, you guys heard about it yesterday as the linebacker was released from the Colts in a surprise move. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, why the Colts had let him go. I don't know if it was a money issue, a performance issue, but it was a huge surprise to see an all-pro linebacker get released in the middle of the season. But of course, that was then posed as a question to me. Should the 49ers sign Shaq Leonard? Now, the first thing that has to happen in this, and which I believe is expected to happen, but I don't believe it's officially happened, it's expected that Leonard is going to clear waivers based on how much money is owed on that current contract and how many years are left. It is expected that he's going to clear waivers and be a free agent and can sign wherever he wants. So that becomes a thing that we at least have to think about. Should the San Francisco 49ers consider signing Leonard to this Super Bowl caliber roster? Now, there's a couple things that you need to consider. Obviously, he is not going to be stepping in front of Drake Greenlaw or Fred Warner. So he would be LB3. And we already know the San Francisco 49ers run a ton of nickel. So he would be the odd man out in that scenario. So there's a couple things that we have to get through to decide and discern if Leonard could be a fit for the 49ers and if he'd even want to come to the San Francisco 49ers to play in that type of role. Now, first thing to consider, the 49ers have been shifting their nickel packages around with their cornerbacks. Obviously, the newest wrinkle that we've seen is that when they go to nickel, Diamador Lenore kicks inside to that nickel cornerback spot, and they bring in Ambry Thomas, where it was reverse. Isaiah Oliver would be your primary nickel, and Diamador Lenore was an outside corner. So we've seen them make those adjustments outside the bye. But would a player like Leonard give them more flexibility to run more base down than nickel? Because Leonard is an athletic linebacker. He ran a 4.7 coming out of the draft, 6'2, 230 pounds. The 28-year-old was a second-round draft pick, 36th overall by the Indianapolis Colts in 2018. He's shown to be one of the more athletic linebackers in the NFL. And at one point, it was up for debate if it was him or Fred Warner that was the best off-ball linebacker in the NFL. So it's going to be interesting to see what ultimately happens with him and where he lands. If he is indeed going to clear waivers and can sign wherever he wants. I would love for him to come to the San Francisco 49ers. I feel like, just like I was saying, it would give the 49ers an opportunity to run more base down sets where they have four defensive linemen and three linebackers, and Leonard being one of them. I mean, if you could think about that particular front seven of Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, Chase Young, Fred Warner, Drake Greenlaw, and Shaq Leonard, that might be, I think that would be the hands down, unquestioned best front seven in football. And so that would be one thing to consider of why maybe he could sign with them. Obviously, what are his motivations? Is he trying to get the bag again? Is he trying to play for a contender? Is he trying to put himself in a situation where he can get ample playing time and then be able to take that body of work and transition it to a new contract at the end of the year when he becomes a free agent again, if the team that signs him to a 1-year deal? So that gives him an opportunity to kind of prove it to the rest of the league that might want his services at the end of the year. You know, he is 28, so he's still on the right side of 30. So it's going to be interesting to see if this would be a thing that would be considered by him or the San Francisco 49ers. This season, Leonard has played 454 snaps on defense. He's played weak side linebacker and middle linebacker. So he's kind of shifted around a little bit. He's had 208 coverage snaps. He's done okay from the grading standpoint, according to PFF. He's done all right. Nothing spectacular. Kind of looks middle tier based on what I'm seeing from this season. He has two quarterback hurries and 43 total tackles. So he's been somewhat productive. I mean, he has given up 17 receptions on 22 targets for 158 yards, but he hasn't given up any touchdowns in coverage. So I don't see anything that's jumping, at least off the stats from what we've seen. It's definitely a dip from what we've seen out of his first 4 years. His last 2 years haven't been ideal. In 2020, he didn't play a lot because he was injured for most of that season. So, from a production standpoint, he's obviously coming back from the injury and he's doing okay. I would say he's doing okay. It doesn't look like he's at his all pro level like we saw in previous years, but I think it would be interesting to think about and consider just how much does he want to win a Super Bowl and how much flexibility that would give the San Francisco 49ers to be even more creative with their scheme and what they would try to do. I don't know. I'm intrigued by it, especially, the San Francisco 49ers have a ton of cap space. So the dollar amount or figure, whatever it could be, if it's on a 1 year for half a year, it's not going to break the 49ers back in any regard. So it's definitely something they could consider. It would just really be a situation where the rich get richer, honestly. And to be honest, I would definitely look into it. I would see if he's interested in it, and if so, why not pull the trigger? If he's okay with being the third linebacker off the bench, playing special teams, and contributing in any way he can to hopefully help the 49ers win a Super Bowl, why not? Why not? Right? Just on name brand alone, just on name value, even if he isn't having his best season, it would be something that I would consider. But what would you say? What would you say to this? Would you think that one, he would consider it based on the kind of circumstances that we've laid out, potential issues with playing time, being the third linebacker off the bench, because there's no like that would have to be one of the first conversations. Like, you're not going to be playing in front of Dre Greenlaw. And of course, you're not going to be playing in front of Fred Warner. Like, Dre Greenlaw right now is playing as one of the best linebackers in football. So that's out the question. You're coming in as third man off. And, depending on how he plays, maybe it gives the 49ers a little bit more flexibility to do things with three linebacker, base down sets and things like that. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if the 49ers are considered by Leonard and if the interest is mutual. But again, I've been asked this question a bunch of times. So I kind of just wanted to run through the process, kind of like lay out like the way that I'm looking at it and potential, like maybe why he would and why he wouldn't, and why the 49ers would and why they wouldn't. So again, to kind of bring it all together, I think it really just comes down to, is he okay with being the third man in the rotation for the linebackers? Is he okay playing on a prove it deal? And does he want to go after a ring? So I think that's really what it comes down to. And we'll see. We'll see what the motivations are. We'll see if he, again, I'm still looking to see if he officially cleared waivers. And if he clears and it's free to sign elsewhere, should he sign with the San Francisco 49ers? Now it's your turn to answer the question in the comments below. Let me know. Should they? Should they not? Should he? Should they not? A lot of things to think about. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.